Have you ever caught yourself staring into space, wondering if you're living the life you truly want? Perhaps you've achieved what society calls success, the career, the relationships, the stability, yet something still feels missing. This feeling isn't unusual, it's profoundly human. Many of us reach points in our lives where external achievements no longer satisfy our deeper questions about meaning, purpose, and growth. Today, we're diving into how philosophy, often misunderstood as abstract theorizing disconnected from everyday life, can actually be one of the most practical tools for personal transformation. Philosophy isn't just for academics or those with leather-bound books on their shelves. At its core, it's about examining life and learning how to live well. What makes philosophy uniquely powerful is that it doesn't just offer answers, it teaches us how to ask better questions. And often, the questions we ask determine the quality of our lives more than the answers we find. Let's begin with the Socratic principle that the unexamined life is not worth living. This isn't meant to be discouraging but liberating. Socrates wasn't suggesting that a simple life lacks value, but rather that without reflection, we risk living on autopilot, following scripts written by culture, family expectations, or unconscious fears rather than authoring our own authentic existence. Philosophy provides frameworks for this examination. Consider the Stoics, who taught that we should focus our energy only on what we can control, our judgments, actions, and responses, while accepting what we cannot. This perspective isn't about resignation, that rational allocation of our mental resources. When you stop exhausting yourself trying to control uncontrollable outcomes, like others' opinions or global events, you reclaim enormous energy for meaningful growth. Marcus Aurelius, emperor and philosopher, would remind himself daily, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. This isn't positive thinking, it's a profound reframing of reality that changes how we engage with challenges. The existentialists offer another powerful lens. Jean-Paul Sartre's assertion that existence precedes essence means there is no predetermined blueprint for your life. You create meaning through choices, and this freedom, while sometimes anxiety-inducing, is also your greatest opportunity. Rather than discovering a pre-existing purpose, you actively craft one, becoming the architect of your own significance. Before we continue exploring how other philosophical traditions can transform your approach to growth, I want to take a moment to connect with you directly. If you're finding value in this perspective on philosophy as practical wisdom rather than abstract theory, please consider subscribing to this channel and hitting the notification bell. We're building a community of people interested in deeper conversations about life's fundamental questions, not abstract debates, but insights you can apply to live more intentionally and authentically. Your subscription helps these conversations reach others who might benefit from them. Now, let's turn to Eastern philosophical traditions, which offer complementary insights. Buddhism's concept of impermanence, anicca, teaches us that attachment to fixed outcomes or identities creates suffering. When we embrace change as the only constant, we develop psychological flexibility, perhaps the most crucial skill for growth in our rapidly evolving world. The Taoist concept of luwei, often translated as non-action or effortless action, isn't about passivity, but about aligning with natural processes rather than forcing outcomes. This principle teaches us to recognize when we're swimming against the current of our authentic nature and wasting energy fighting reality rather than working with it. Philosophy also helps us identify and challenge cognitive distortions. The discipline of logic doesn't just help scholars win arguments, it helps us recognize when we're caught in fallacious thinking. Catastrophizing, black and white reasoning, overgeneralization, these patterns limit our growth by narrowing our perception of possibilities. Consider how often we fall prey to the sunk cost fallacy, continuing investments of time, energy, or emotion not because they serve our growth, but because we've already invested so much. Philosophy gives us tools to recognize these traps and make clear decisions aligned with our values rather than cognitive biases. Perhaps most importantly, philosophy teaches us to live with contradiction and uncertainty. Western education often conditions us to seek definitive answers, but philosophical tradition embraces paradox. Growth doesn't come from resolving all uncertainty, but developing comfort with complexity. As F. Scott Fitzgerald noted, the test of a first-rate intelligence is the ability to hold two opposed ideas in mind at the same time and still retain the ability to function. This capacity becomes crucial as we navigate ethical complexities, relationship dynamics, career transitions, or any situation where multiple valid perspectives exist. Growth often happens in the spaces between certainties, in the questions rather than the answers. Philosophy also helps us engage more consciously with societal narratives about success, happiness, and meaning. In consumer cultures, external metrics of achievement often dominate: wealth, status, possessions. Philosophical examination helps us discern which pursuits genuinely align with our values versus those we've unconsciously absorbed from advertising or social comparisons. Aristotle's concept of eudaimonia, often translated as flourishing rather than mere happiness, suggests that well-being comes not from pleasure or external recognition, but from developing our capabilities and virtues. This shifts the growth question from "what can I get?" to "who can I become?" The practical benefit becomes clear when we face inevitable setbacks. Philosophy doesn't just help during contemplative moments, but provides resilience when life challenges us. As Epictetus, who began life as a slave, wrote, "Make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens." This perspective transforms how we process disappointment. Rather than asking, "Why is this happening to me?" a question that often leads to rumination, philosophy encourages us to ask, "How can I respond in a way that reflects my deepest values?" This subtle shift changes everything about how we grow through adversity. To bring this full circle, philosophy's greatest gift might be helping us recognize that growth isn't linear. Unlike physical development, personal evolution involves cycles, regressions, plateaus, and unexpected leaps. Understanding this pattern helps us stay committed during inevitable periods when progress seems stalled. As we conclude, remember that philosophy isn't about having all the answers, but developing a more conscious relationship with your questions. It's about recognizing, as Socrates did, that wisdom begins with acknowledging what we don't know. This humility opens us to genuine learning rather than merely confirming existing beliefs. I encourage you to experiment with philosophical reflection in your own life. Perhaps begin with a simple practice. At day's end, ask yourself what assumptions you operated under today that might benefit from examination. What values guided your choices? What conception of the good life is implicit in how you spent your time? If you found this perspective valuable, please like this video and share your thoughts in the comments below. I'm particularly interested in hearing which philosophical concept has most influenced your approach to personal growth. Your insights might illuminate possibilities for others in this community. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to this channel for more conversations that bridge timeless wisdom with contemporary challenges. We're exploring questions that matter, not as academic exercises, but as practical guides for living with greater intention and depth. Also, check the description below for ways to support the channel so we can continue creating content that matters. Until next time, remember that the most profound growth often begins not with finding new answers, but with asking better questions.